Welcome back. Yes, another yellow jersey. And there's the possibility when I do the other review later tonight, could be a gold jersey, right? Could be. Might be. Uh Boys, some results here. Let's just jump into this really quickly. Nashville and Minnesota. It was Connor Ingram making his NHL debut. He was against Kokkonen, getting his first game of the year. Not a great night for Kokkonen. I'm not going to put it on him, though. But Ingram had a pretty good debut. And so David Riddick, who's in protocols, might be watching this game and going, oh, crap. Because Ingram has at least earned himself, I think, a shot at another start, right? And pretty sure he has to clear waivers before he would go down. Although we're not quite 30, may not be the 30-day mark yet. We'll see. So Minnesota 4-0 coming into this game, had trailed in all four games, and I thought that was noteworthy enough to put on the board. So they had to fight from behind in all four games, which is heroic until it doesn't work. First game for Ingram, as I said, pushing starts early in this one. These are division rivals that are once again getting acquainted with one another. Predators get a power play. On said power play, on the first shot of the game for Nashville, they score. It's Roman Josi from Duchesne and Granlund at 3:45. Predators then go back to the power play. Tolvanen was boarded by Spurgeon. It was a 2-minute call. I'm going to agree with people saying that I think referees and the league are taking it kind of easy on some of these boarding calls. And I really hope that we don't see somebody get badly hurt, but it feels like that may be where we're headed. So yeah, on the next power play, it's Johansson that scores. So there's 2 goals on 2 power plays. That was the third shot for Nashville. Forsberg and Josi with the assists at 5:54. So Josi off to a great start to the game, right? The Wild then get a turn on the power play. The Predators survived that. There was only 1 shot from Minnesota during that power play. And the team was flat. The fans were pretty quiet. For a 4-0 crowd, pretty quiet fans for the night. Trennan had a wraparound that wouldn't go. Fiala hits the post, but then the puck goes the other way. Johansson scores from Josi and Duchesne at 12:25. That was the 8th shot of the game. So that's 3 goals on 8 shots for the Nashville Predators. So the Preds, it was a nice rush chance for them there. They then get a third power play, and at this point, the Boo Birds are out in Minnesota because there's more power plays for Nashville, right? The Wild killed it off, then they press. Eriksson Ek can't bury one. Sturm had an opportunity as well, wouldn't go. And then the Preds get their 4th power play. Hartman nearly made it a 5-on-3 for 2 minutes. So what happened was that Foligno's getting the penalty to go to the box. And while the delayed penalty's going on, I counted a slash, a cross-check, and interference by Hartman. It's not an ollie oxen free. It's not, well, we're already taking a penalty, so I can do whatever I want. That's not how it works. They can't call multiple penalties. Anyways, the Wild did kill off the 5-on-4. So to that point, it was a 2-for-4 for the night for Nashville. And their power play wasn't really the story after that. So we go to the second period with it 3-0 for the Preds. First chance was for the Preds. Early saves by Kakkonen, who had to be thinking, I can't allow another. The Wild would get a power play. There's a near goal for Fiala. A scrum ensues after that. There was a shorthanded 2-on-1. Cunnin fires it wide. The Predators did kill it off. Good Predators chance at 8 minutes. The Wild pressed with 9 minutes left. And eventually, a rush chance leads to a goal. Merrill with a nice stretch pass to Bjugstad. And at 11 minutes and 30 seconds, Minnesota gets on the board. But before they can get excited that they're on the board and start thinking, maybe at 13:15, Forsberg gets a goal from Josi and Duchesne. That was originally awarded to Josi. They did change it before the game was out to a goal for Forsberg. So I threw my Forsberg jersey on. And it was a pretty determined shift by the Predators. This was a sign that they weren't going to lose this one, right? Cunnin had a shot that was blocked. The Wild would rush. The Predators get a power play. That's killed off. And then it's Jeannot. Forgot an N in there. It's fine. Trennan and Sissons with the assists at 18:35. That would make it 5-1. So pretty lopsided score at that point. And he tipped it out of midair. It was a really nice tip by Jeannot, and you could see him kind of laughing about it on the bench, like, oh, I totally planned that. I do that all the time. And then Sturm would score from Duhaime at 19:58. So as the clock's expiring, Minnesota scores to make it 5-2. We go to the third period. Early chances for the Wild. They would press. The fans get upset at a non-call on Nashville, which they could have called there. I don't think it affects the outcome if they had. Kakkonen saves one on Johansson. The Wild would get a power play. During that, Goudreau fires one wide. Ingram with a glove save on Fiala. The Wild go back to the power play. The Predators kill that off as well. Trennan had a rush chance. Bjugstad had another chance that was saved. He had a good game. Bjugstad had a goal tonight and everything, so he had a decent game. Just the team wasn't all that great. Another Bjugstad shot was stopped after that. They pull the goalie with 5:51 left because you've got to do something here, right? Fiala had a shot that was saved. Things get pushy after. And then with 2:52 left, Nashville takes a penalty that makes it 6-on-4. But what that also does is it means Nashville doesn't have to worry about icing the puck. So before we get too far into that, Zuccarello takes a penalty, and that ends the game. Your final score is 5-2 in favor of Nashville. They go to 2-4, so they improve the record. Minnesota drops to 4-1. This is a result that does affect power rankings. So I mentioned earlier the San Jose Boston game and how I felt like I didn't change things from last night's. This result to me says that Minnesota had to come down a little bit, Nashville had to come up a little bit, and so some games affect them, and some of them I look at and I go, yeah, no, I'm still pretty happy with where they're at. So the shots, 11-9 Nashville in the first, 11-8 Minnesota in the second, 15-10 Minnesota in the third. They actually outshoot Nashville. 35-29 power plays, Nashville 2 for 6, Minnesota 0 for 5. The hits, there wasn't much hitting. 9-7 in favor of Minnesota. Ingram, 33 saves on 35 shots. Kakkonen, 24 saves on 29 shots. And again, for Minnesota, it's their first loss of the year, and now they got to bounce back from it. However, Chicago, are we at video level with Chicago? I think we are. I think there's enough debate right now with what's going on in Chicago that I think it's video worthy. Chicago has set a new National Hockey League record. They broke the record for the longest string from the start of the season without holding a lead. They haven't had a lead all season, and they didn't get one tonight either. Nedeljkovic versus Fleury. Fleury's numbers aren't great. We can debate about how he's playing. I think that the amount of prime opportunities he's facing is probably catching him off guard after those years in Vegas, where I think he was definitely, I don't know if protected's the right word, but you could use that terminology, and in Chicago it's just not there. At 1:01, the Wings get a power play. The power play really had trouble setting up. Fleury then denies Bertuzzi. The shots were 4-1 for the Wings at 5 minutes, and then Raymond, starting what would be a very special night for him, he scores from Bertuzzi at 5:41, and it was a turnover on an expected icing. So this is one of those plays where a player's like, okay, that's an icing, and he just hits the puck out and goes right to Bertuzzi, who says thanks and gives it to Raymond, and it's in the net. Always play to the whistle, so do not assume there's an icing. If you don't hear the whistle yet, don't assume the icing's coming. Wings were winning the puck battles. Some dangerous Hawks turnovers going on as well in the first half and at the half as well. But Tyler Johnson scores from Taves and McCabe at 12:35, and fantastic effort leading to that goal. Like, this was just Tyler Johnson willing the puck into the net, right? The Wings then get a power play. It was a 4-minute power play. Larkin then takes a penalty, however, to make it 4-on-4 for a full 2 minutes. Then the Hawks get a 4-on-3 for 38 seconds as the penalty parade is on. And it looked like the Hawks were kind of taking over at this point. However, DeBrincat had a shot that was saved. The power play's killed off. Loud cursing makes Mickey Redmond laugh. So, though this was on Sportsnet, it was the Detroit feed that we had. And I love the Mickey Redmond Detroit feed. And yeah, these guys are cursing, and every time that you could hear players loudly cursing on the ice, Mickey Redmond was kind of laughing about it. He's, I guess he's late for a train, this kind of thing. DeBrincat, he passed late in the period too when he should have shot, but we go to the second period, tied at 1. Early Wings press, Nemesnikov had a shot that was saved. Good start for the Detroit Red Wings here. Things get kind of pushy. The Wings get a power play. The Hawks did kill it off. So to this point, the Wings were 0 for 4. Kubalik with a near miss, and then it goes the other way. And it was a 3-on-1 after that near miss. And Rowney scores from Rasmussen and Stevens at 4:22. And it was a rebound put in by Rowney, and it's just, this is one of those times where Chicago's not clearing out the front of the net. So yeah, 3-on-1, and that leads to a goal. Fabry then with a break. Fleury makes the save there. Hawks were allowing too many chances. Like, this was a situation where the defense is backing off, and Detroit was just imposing themselves here. DeBrincat fires one wide. They were pressuring, but it goes the other way, and it ends up in the net. It's Nemesnikov from Stevens and Zadina at 7:33. And the defense on this goal was bad. And this is where I noticed, and this is just the eyeball test, right? So without all the charts and everything for the advanced stats, I use the eyeball test, and I'm like, they're keying on Seth Jones. And so I started looking at some of this. I'm like, they're keying, like the Red Wings are seeing Seth Jones and they're keying on him. They're going straight at him and they're going through him. And he's backing off, right? And this is something that is noticeable. And right now it's, as I'm recording this, trending on Twitter. So the booing is getting warmed up at this point in the game. The Wings score. It's reviewed for whether or not Bertuzzi kicked it. They decide he did not. I thought they were going to take it off the board. I give up. Bertuzzi gets the goal from Larkin and Raymond at 9:19. One factor in this, too, it went off Reese Johnson skating into the net. Reese Johnson was just called up today from Rockford, and so he gets an own goal for his efforts. The Hawks then get a power play. They do score on it. It's Kubalik from Seth Jones and Taves at 12 minutes and 10 seconds, and it may have hit Leddy on the way in as well. So for Chicago, that makes it 4-2. Fleury then saves a Fabry chance. Hagel had a wraparound attempt. That wouldn't go. And then at exactly 19 minutes, it's Raymond scoring his second of the game from Larkin and Bertuzzi. Makes it 5-2. And at the horn, things are a little bit scrappy between these two teams who know each other pretty well historically. So I'm not necessarily surprised. These teams may not get along all that well. So third period is where things really get crazy, right? Borgstrom scores from Strome and Gaudette at 1:58. So there's Chicago making it a 2-goal game. There's a power play for the Wings. The Hawks do end up killing that off. Sider had a shot that was saved. Stevens tries to bank one in, and this is where they're kind of shooting from all over. Larkin hit a post after the Hawks had turned the puck over, which was still a problem at this point. The Wings go back to the power play. This time they score on the power play, and it's Raymond from Larkin and Sider at 7 minutes. And he is the first teenage hockey player playing for the Detroit Red Wings to score a hat trick since Steve Yzerman. 19 years of age. No pressure. You're now in the same sentence as Steve Yzerman. No pressure on Raymond, who looks fantastic. He really does. And remember when they lost that draft lottery and Detroit fans were mad, and all of the reports seemed to indicate Raymond was going to be a really good player. So I thought at the time, well, it may turn out okay. And so far, I think they're pretty happy with Raymond. Not to say anything about, how the whole draft lottery thing works. Now it's been changed since then, but Raymond's a pretty good consolation prize. So the Hawks get a power play. They're down by 3, right? They get a 5-on-3, and then it looked like the Hawks had scored, but it was ruled that Kirby Dach had shoved the pad. At least I think it was Dach's stick that shoves the pad and pushes the goalie in. So it's challenged. Now remember, if the challenge doesn't work, it is now 6-4, and you get 5-on-3 for, I think it was 1 minute and 43 seconds, it would have been ridiculous. So it's no goal. The challenge is successful. Gagne, really strong 5-on-3 play, and Nedeljkovic robbed DeBrincat as well. So DeBrincat, wide open net, and Nedeljkovic comes over and says no. And again, Sam Gagne with some really good shorthanded play when they were down two players. We then get 7 seconds of 5-on-3 again. The Hawks called a timeout for the 5-on-3. The 5-on-3 was awarded for a hand on the puck call. The player didn't have his hand on the puck. You could see on the replay he had his stick on the puck, his knee over the puck, his hand didn't touch the puck. So it was, Mickey Redmond said it was the worst penalty he'd seen in his 50 years, which Ken Daniels rightfully said no. And I agree. Mickey's probably said that a few times over the years, but yeah, it was not a great call. It's one of those things where I think the referee suspected from the movement of the player, he thought, well, he had to have his hand on the puck. Where a guy gets his hand on the puck and moves it. And I think that's what he thought happened, but it was the stick, not the hand. So things get scrappy at the Wings net. Strome with a high stick, and that's a 4-minute call. And yeah, so that pretty much does it, because at this point there's only 5:24 left. So the Red Wings end up with a power play of, I think it was 3 minutes and 58 seconds. I think that high stick was with 2 seconds left in all the penalty stuff to Detroit. And so DeKeyser had a shot that was saved, but Detroit was just trying to end the game at this point. And they win 6-3. Detroit goes to 3-2-1. And as they pointed out on the broadcast, Detroit's next 10 games are pretty tough. Chicago drops to 0-5-1. We're in video territory with Chicago. Some of the teams off to slow starts, definitely in video territory. The shots in this one, 11-8 Chicago in the first, 19-6 Detroit in the second. Total meltdown in that second period by Chicago. Way too many prime opportunities for Detroit. In the third period, Chicago bounces back, but they bounced back when they were down by 3, and they outshot Detroit 18-10. Final shots 37-35 for the Wings. Power plays, Detroit got 8. They scored once. Chicago got 4. They scored once. The hits were 41-23 for Chicago. It was a physical game, much more physical than this one here. Nedeljkovic saves 32 out of 35 for his first victory as a Detroit goaltender. Fleury saves 31 out of 37. Is Fleury playing great in Chicago? No. But Seth Jones also on the ice for every 5-on-5 goal scored by the Detroit Red Wings. And I couldn't help noticing him on some of those plays. And again, it looked to me like Detroit was going straight at him. And so there's some work to be done in Chicago. I agree that Jeremy Colleton right now, that seat has to be really warm for him in Chicago. And I don't think they're going to wait too much longer, because for Stan Bowman, this is a sign that his job could be in trouble. He may end up having to get rid of the coach, but that's the coach that he brought in as well. And with general managers, sometimes you only get one coach that you get to hire before the guy above you says, well, wait a minute, you're firing the guy you hired. What are you doing here? So things in Chicago are pretty ugly right now, and we'll see if things turn around over the coming weeks. But 0-5-1 is a pretty rough start. It's a long season, but they've dug themselves into a pretty deep hole, and we'll see if they can get out of it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.